Good morning and good afternoon to my European friends. How's everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Let's see, what do we had this morning really quickly? Let's just kind of take a look. We had CPI that came out this morning. Pretty uneventful, actually. I really was expecting a whole lot more than that. was it 47 to barely 120 points, end to end. Kind of a meh event. It's kind of funny. The tariff stuff gets more of a reaction than that. But anyhow, let's take a look and see who is in here, and take a little roll call here. Joe, good morning to you. Goose, good morning. Nice to see my my European friends. Goose and good morning, Rich. Carla's in here. Nice, Carla. Good morning. Hopefully, Moon's going to join us. Richie, good morning. Jeremy, good morning to you. Mitch, good morning. Nice to see you. How are you? Ria, good morning to you. Beth, good morning. And to everybody else who's kind of shy behind the scenes and does not want to say hello. It would be nice to just, hear from everybody. But it's okay. If you don't want to say anything or interact, that's all right. You can just kind of watch. The fact that you're here supporting me is great. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I know you've got plenty of options of things that you can do with this. Well, it depends on your time zone, early in the day, late in the afternoon, what have you. And I really appreciate you guys spending your time here with me. So, what are we looking at? So yesterday, kind of like around the overnight, I completely missed the overnight trade. I've not been able to wake up. I've been kind of getting home and doing the family thing, and then I'm just like crash out on the couch, and I woke up. It was like 3:15 Eastern, which is 12:15 my time, and I'm thinking, oh man, missed another trade. I went to go look back in it, and it was a winning trade. Good morning, Miguel. And I did draw some lines here. So let me kind of zoom in so you can see what I was looking at. So right here, I had this engulfing bar. This happened right here, and this was at 305. And if you're trading on NinjaTrader, it would be a 310 bar. Okay, so this was an engulfing bar. And I always like to draw basically lines for creating broadening formations, like expanding channels, if you would, expanding formations, to where price would potentially go based on this engulfing bar. So if we start to one by bar this thing, bar by bar, you'll see that, remember what we said, is price tries to take out the high, and if it's not successful in taking it a high and higher and continuing, then it's going to go and take the other side. So if it comes back reclaiming the range, trades back inside the range of the engulfing bar, then it's going to go and try and take out the low and then get lower lows and so on and so forth and expand. Okay. So you can see we're trading inside here, and you can see price is poking, and this line was drawn, right? It's just an extension line with 2 points. The 2 points are here and here, right? So obviously this made higher high here and made lower low here. So I drew these connecting dots and sent them out to the future, and then just kind of let price do whatever it is. This was at 3 o'clock in the morning. So as you can tell, we're chopping around inside this range, right? And we're still trying to make lower lows to break out of either direction. So it didn't do it here. So it's going back up to try to take out the high. It basically petered out here, hit the VWAP, and then bounced. Okay, there's another engulfing, but that's inside this range, so I'm not really worried about it because we're still trading inside of this. If you look at it, if we draw lines, we're closing above and then coming right back into the range. So if we draw lines across, like this. So these blue lines, you can see we're finally here, we're trying to make a push up and break away. Okay, we're getting away from this. So to see if this is a valid break to the upside away from this range, I'm looking for, it's either going to continue to go or it's going to come back and retest and go back up. So it did just that, came back, and it created another engulfing, so we can actually draw these lines, but I'm going to stick with these right here for the outside. Okay? And you can kind of see how we're starting to shoot to this area right here, which what it tells me is when we get here, I'm anticipating price to basically bounce back down and come back to the other side, okay? And then we had CPI this morning, which broke out and then immediately tested right back into this range, and now it's kind of meandering around at the top here. Okay, you guys kind of see all that? Type a Y or a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to show here. So right now, since we're up in this area, I'm looking for price to break up, test, and then head back up again, right? So that's ideally what I'm looking for. So what are we looking for? By the way, we had the 9 o'clock trade, which did not trigger because we were looking for a short. And for that to happen, I needed, because of this bar right here, this kept everything to the high side. And I needed price to break below 992 to take this thing short, which we never really got there. I didn't talk about it because I didn't really see it happening. We were just above it the whole time, never really closed below. So that was the reason we didn't get into the trade for the 9 o'clock trade this morning. Okay, you guys see and get that? So while we were talking, for those of you who've been following and know the strategy and the reason for entry on for the 9 o'clock, you know we did not have a setup. Is that correct? I mean, okay. Let's do this. Who is trading the 9 o'clock breakout with me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you are. Okay, and then how many of you are trading this on your own without me calling it out? You already can recognize this on your own. Give me a me. Type me if if you already have this thing set up and you can read it and you can see it and you know where to get in on your own without me having to call it. You need a little more clarification? All right, Joe, fair enough. Thanks, Kush. I appreciate it. Is it Kus? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it. How would I phonetically pronounce your name, Kus? I really do not want to butcher your name, so I apologize. Miguel, you're trading it on your own? Okay, good. So one person. Everybody else, I take it you guys are going based on my read, on my calls. Okay, which is bad. We want to get you guys to be doing this on your own. Because I don't want you guys copying me, because that's not what the intent of this is. This is intended for education. So you guys can learn and then do this on your own. I mean, I appreciate the confidence and the compliment and everything, and that's great, but it's not really going to do you any good, because if I'm not here and I'm not streaming and I'm not with you, then what does that mean? You're going to miss out on this setup and this trade? That would be kind of unfortunate. So the whole idea is to try to get you guys to be as self-sufficient as possible, which is one of the things that we cover in the mentoring Discord. In the Discord, all the time. We work on the trader development, to become, independent and self-reliant. All right, so let me kind of switch things over and get ready for the 9:30. Okay, I'm just being quiet because I'm trying to set up my stuff. So give me a second. I gotta look at my other computers here for a second. All right. I think we got that set up. So now let's test this thing.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
All right. So that appears to be ready and set up. All right, let's see if we can kind of look and see where. So here you can see I had some other broadening formations that I drew here. And you can see the price, kind of hit up here and then bounced back into the range. So we'll take these out. Don't need this right now. All right, so let's go to the monthly. Start there. So for the monthly, we're still trading inside of March's range, but we're heading out to take out the highs of it. So this thing, hopefully, we would anticipate the rest of this month to continue to the upside and get out to 21,351. That's kind of like what we're hoping for. We'll see what happens. And then don't forget, we have a broadening formation here back in February that we're trading inside of that range again. So that's on the monthly. And then if we look at the weekly, we're still showing upward, the buyers are definitely in control, and they have been for the last, not so much here, but definitely this week and the week of the 28th of April, and also the 21st. So you can see that the buyers are definitely in control for the last, few weeks. Even though here last week we did close below, a little bit lower. We did try to move higher and weren't successful, and the sellers tried to push it back down and definitely were not successful in that. So that was kind of like a balance week last week, but the buyers are definitely in control. I'd say for the last month, the buyers have definitely been in control. And then obviously the daily, we're just every day we're progressively, you know, except for what was this, Monday, last week Monday, and last week Tuesday were down days, but everything else has been pretty much, you know, green up days. So if we were to look at this and we would look at the daily, where could we go? I mean, we broke this high pivot point right here at 25.50 when we broke it. 21,000 obviously was a big key number to break, because if we draw a line at 21,000, trying to grab it, it's not letting me. Okay, it's close enough. We'll put it right here. You can see the price bounced here, 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 right? So it was being used as support for quite a while, going back to November of 24. Okay. And then again back in January. And then towards the end of January. And then February, it just broke right through it, right? So it crashed right through, and now we're back up here again. So this is going to be key to see if what was once support now going to be resistance. So are we going to be basically tapping our heads here and coming back down, or are we going to break out of here and then continue upward and then, you know, try to go back to the 22,000 and ultimately all-time highs, which probably what's going to end up happening, especially with the new tariff news, you know, being released, that there was a trade deal made with China and so forth. So that could potentially continue this grind upward. But for the near term, we're looking somewhere up here, 21,337. So let's keep an eye on that, which is the high of this engulfing bar right here. So that's the first thing that I was looking for, is this guy right here. So if we're going to set ourselves any kind of a target for the next day or so, it would be somewhere at 21,329. Okay. As long as we continue this, as long as the buyers, you know, stay in control and we don't get any kind of a reversal. So write that down, mark it down, whatever. So 21,329. That's on the daily, okay? So if we jump into the hourly, you can see we've formed this. Here's our H pattern on the hourly, right here. See that? Okay. So now it tried to poke through. Remember this right here, it poked above 21,000, and this is during CPI, right? And then it came back down, trading here right at 21,000. So then the question is this going to be a valid reversal point, right? Because usually H patterns or reverse H patterns or inverted H patterns are indication of points of reversal. So are we going to do this, or are we just going to go up a little bit, test, and then head back up? So that's on the hourly chart. Okay, so we can leave that there. Okay, and then if we go down to the 15-minute chart, we can keep our, drawing up. Oh, here's kind of something that's very interesting. Okay, I drew what I drew. Okay, let's see. First of all, let me make sure you guys are still following me, because there's no activity in the chat. If you guys are still with me, put a 1 in the chat just to make sure that you guys are still with me. I'm going to leave this chart up and I want to show you something. All right, perfect. John, good morning. Nice to see you. Okay, so remember I drew this on the 1 hour. Okay. And when I went down to the 15-minute, this just popped at me at this line right here, which is off of a broadening formation right here that was drawn yesterday. Okay, remember I drew the broadening formation line here? So here's the interesting part. I drew this not even realizing that this was there. So I wonder if price is actually going to do this in real time. Come up, retest right on this line with the extension line off of the broadening formation, right? And then continue upward. See what this candle did right here? This is the low of the CPI right here at 959-ish. What's the low on that? 946 and 3/4. And it's literally like following this line almost to the tick. See that the price here is getting attracted to it on the lower end. Let me zoom in a little so maybe you can see that better. And this is on the 15, right? So see how the 15 is drawing this up right here? Then it poked up, came back down, and now it's up here. So we'll see once this, as time moves on, okay, and we get closer to the market open, we'll see what happens during the day. This will be probably like, right here, looks like closer to like 11. So by lunchtime, so we'll see what happens by lunchtime if price is going to be anywhere near here. So this will be kind of interesting to see. So we can do a little forward, prediction of what's going to happen with price. Right? So, I mean, it's probably obviously going to bounce around, or, is it just going to go sideways? So we'll see. Let's go down to the 5-minute. Okay. Same kind of a thing, right? We're hugging this line, and the 5-minute you can see it's much more evident, right? Where it's a lot of this, up and down, trying to scale this line up, right? And then if we go to, like we said, around lunchtime, we're expecting price to be somewhere up here around 21,080. Okay, now this could happen in an instant during the open, so we don't know. But, for all of you geometry majors, start, putting your lines in, and you can kind of see how this all plays effect. You guys see all that? I'll leave this up. Type on me if you see what I'm talking about, and if any of this is starting to make sense. Is this helpful at all, or is this like completely confusing and like, way above your head? Just give me a yes if it's helpful. Good. Excellent. Yeah, Beth, I know we've been working on this in the Discord, and I always try to like hammer this a lot, and it's just going to take time and repetition of me explaining this thing. Yeah, whoever's smashing the confetti button, go ahead and smash the confetti button if you like it, the little heart, whatever. And it's just going to take some screen time and seeing this over and over and over and over and over again. Joe, how do I determine which engulfing bar to draw the lines from? You can basically draw it on any one, right? Any engulfing bar, you can draw it. Ideally, you want to pick one that's inside a middle of a range so that you can see where price is going to go. There's no, you can draw it on any one. And engulfing bars are usually the ones that will dictate, that ranges are where they're going to be expanding or broadening. The Because all it does is when you have let me put the chart over down here a little bit. So if you have a bar, okay, and then you've got an engulfing bar, that was really terrible. Let me try to do that again. Maybe I should use the line tool, try to draw lines. I'm just so not good at drawing, so forgive me. But okay, so we have a bar. And then we have an engulfing bar. Okay? Anywhere that is. Okay? What we do is then we take our lines and we do this. Okay? So now that gives us the range. So what are we looking for price to do? Well, price is going to go like this until we wait. Whoa. That is not what I wanted to do. So, and I should do this a little bit smaller. But we look for price to do this and like that. So once it comes down and breaks away, we look for it to come back, retest, go back into the range, and then we know it's going to go take out the other side. But as long as it stays inside the broadening formation, it's just going to keep doing this. Okay? We look for, once we're at the broadening formation bottom, we look for it to break, retest, and then once it comes back up, that's the move right here. This is the move. When it breaks the broadening formation, okay, and comes back into it, this is where the big move happens. You guys see that? Or was that like too jobbly? Do I need to clean that up again? Type a 1 if you understand what I'm saying. And once you start seeing this, you'll see this happen over and over and over again. That price will do this, and then it'll break out, and then that's why people always think, well, why do I always get like stopped out and all that? Because all they're doing is price discovery. You just happen to be in the wrong place. If you're inside all of this stuff, then there's a good possibility you're going to get stopped out because you're in chop. You're trading in chop. And you don't want to do that. So when they're saying that, they can see your stops and they're taking out your stops and all that, no, they're not doing that. You're trading inside of a broadening formation, and your stop is going to get taken out because they're expanding the formation. So unless you're trading this part, right? Because if you're basically here, all right, and your entry is somewhere back here when it retests, and your stop is here, you're not going to get taken out because it's going up. It already knows that this was a false break. It did not continue to the downside. It came back up, and then there's going to be some kind of a, one of these things somewhere around here on the smaller time frame that gives you an indication that it's reversing, and then it's going. And once it does that, the higher time frame will tell you that you're inside of a broadening range, and it's going to take out the other side. Okay, are we good? Can I delete all this? Well, Trader Braun, here's the thing. You can draw it on, you're welcome, John. You can draw this on any time frame. The higher the time frame, the more relevant this is to the lower time frame. And what do I mean by that? It means that the lower time frames will trigger the higher time frames. So the lower time frame, it's all a bunch of noise. If you want really clean stuff, it all happens on the higher time frame. But the problem is to trade the higher time frames, the stops are going to be huge, right? And we can't really afford to do that. But all the smart money trades, on the higher time frames. So for us to kind of try to capture the move and figure out where everything is, we draw this stuff on a higher time frame. So for us day traders, you can draw this stuff on the 5 or the 15. And then when you go to a smaller time frame like the 1 or 3 or the 5 if you're trading off the 15, then you'll see all this stuff, you know, kind of play out. Just like when I drew this broadening formation here off the 5. If I take this down to the 1 and I look at the 1 minute, so remember I drew that off of the, yeah, let me clean this stuff up a little bit. So if I draw this off the 5, this is off the 5 minute. So when you have the broadening formation, you can see this a lot clearer on the smaller time frames. All right. I left this on here. I drew this off the 1 just to kind of see. This is the 1 hour. Just to kind of see what price is going to do throughout the day. Let's drop this down to the 21,000. Yeah, no problem. Yep, you're welcome, Carla. All right, here we go. So market's open. So at this point, we need price to close below 21,000 if we're going to take a short, the way it stands right now. So remember, we're still trading. So who was it that asked me, where do you draw the, I think it was Joe, right? You asked me, how do I determine where to draw the engulfing? So here's a big engulfing bar. You can draw, you know, but you don't really have, I mean, the range would be crazy because it engulfed off of this high, so this line is going to be like moon, right? So this would be just too wide of a range. So, but the way we're looking at it right now is we're trading inside of the CPI news range if we just draw lines across, right? So if we just put a line here and a line here, we're trading inside this range. Okay, so obviously we're going to try to take out the low and then basically break below and then continue down, or we're going to try to take out the high. Other than that, everything else is just going to be choppy in here, up and down. So we're not going to establish any kind of a direction in price up or down until we break outside of this range, which is this engulfing bar. No, it's not. We changed it. And I think it's 45.95, I think is what it was. Let me see. Yeah, it's 45.95. Talked about that yesterday. Okay, now look at what it did. It tried to go down to the lower part of it, had nothing to do with it, and shot back up, and now it's creating another engulfing bar inside here. Okay, so it shot back up literally, like, I mean, it went like, what was this, like 60 points. Where's our line, guys? Remember, this is off of our broadening formation. So we're here. So we're looking for this thing to close above it, come up, test, and continue up, right? And then eventually take out this high. That's kind of what we're looking for. So if we want to see what's happening on the lower time frames, this will give us an indication of what's price doing, right? So here we are. We're above that line. So thanks for the sub, Alex. Welcome. So this 1 minute, where this 1 minute closes, if it closes above this high, we're expecting price to continue to go up. So it did. So now I'm expecting price to continue going higher. And again, we're chasing this guy right here. We're coming up to here. That's what we're going for. And as it stands right now, we're just under a minute, and we're nowhere near a setup to go short. Okay? Because we were looking, like I said, below 21,000. So we got like 20 seconds left, and there is not going to be a short setup today. But we are looking for price to continue going higher. So if you're trading other setups or other, types of scalps or what have you, so now we're looking for something to go long. Okay, so here's our new 5. We didn't get it. Price is going up. Remember, we're going after this high, and I'll stay in here for just another minute or so, and then we'll call it, because that goes outside of what the scope of the stream was for. Okay. But you guys kind of see how this is playing out. We talked about what we're looking for price to do, where it's going to go, and the reason for it, and how the market's telling us all this information, how it's telling us the story. Type a yes in the chat if you guys see that and you're with me on this. All right, excellent, great, cool. So we're getting somewhere. All right, here we go. Now we're getting this push up. Look at that. We just got up into here. So now let's go back to our 5 minute. It just tapped it and then bounced. So just kind of keep an eye on it and see what happens. Is this going to be a place where we're going short? Right? Was this a spot of absorption, and then we're just gonna go to the downside? We're waiting. I don't usually like to do anything until at least 9:45. So, but it's good to kind of see all this and see all this happening. All right. So anyhow, hopefully you guys marked up your charts if you wanted to kind of follow this along and see what price is going to do. Let's call it for today, and we will reconvene tomorrow. You guys in the Discord, we can continue talking about it if you want. Anybody else, if you're interested in joining into the Discord, it is a paid Discord, just so you're aware. The link is in the description. Actually, here, you know what? Let me see. Let me throw up a QR code for you guys real quick if you want it, for those of you who are not there. There it is right there. So if you scan that, you guys grab your phone. I'll leave this up there for about a minute or so. If you guys are interested, that'll get you information. And yeah, Beth, no problem. We'll definitely see you shortly. All right, so I'll leave this up there for a few. I will say thank you again for you guys for joining me. Thanks for participating. I really appreciate your time in here with me, and the support. It means a lot to me. And hopefully you guys got something out of it today. All right, and with that, I will see you guys back here tomorrow. And for the overnight crowd, my European friends, I will I'll try to make it and we'll try to hang out for a little bit in the overnight. All right, guys. So thanks again. You're welcome, Koos and Trader Brown. You're welcome. You're welcome, John. And Carla, thanks again. You two have a great rest of the day, and we will see you guys all later. Bye now.